Hey, it's Patrick from the IFC MidKnights, and we're back. We are back. And as some of you might have noticed, we picked up another night.
Hello.
Um, Welcome, Haas. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a newer person to the heart. Not been around a real long time, but I've really enjoyed getting to know a lot of folks and just see a lot of the great content that's out there, and try to provide when I can. I do reviews and mostly collection updates, things like that. But I really just enjoy getting to see all the other content that's out there because there's so many gifted creators, and this panel's a good indication of that. So just happy to be here.
We're glad you're here too. Um,
Nice
I
to
want to
see you
say,
here.
I'm so glad you're here. You're going to add a lot to the show, and anybody who's like Mary said, anybody who's an IFC fan is more than welcome. So, um,
Yeah.
but I but I do want to say this because it's been a while since we got together, since last time we got together, and I just want to give my condolences to Ben. And thank you for being here. I
Yes.
know it's been a tough month for you, buddy, and my heart has been with you every day, letting you know that. And yeah, I it's sort of funny. I don't know how many people.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know
yeah.
how many people feel like this way, but there are some pets. There's some pets that friends have, other friends have, but you love them like your own. And for me, I love Quilted. Quilted brought me a lot of joy, a lot of joy. Uh, and the way that Ben loved her and
Yeah, they're
always
family,
yeah,
for sure.
it made me laugh. And the videos that you ran of her, including the infamous frame up job, just made me just really yeah, I miss her too, man. And we're thinking about you.
Eating all your fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what those were classic. One had me laughing and crying at the same time. I was just like cracking up and I was crying at the same time because it was just like it was so amazing. Um, I'm glad we're all here, and today we are talking about Hellgate, which is a 2011.
Not
I would say,
Florida.
yes, yeah, not
Gate
not
to
Florida,
hell or
not Florida.
Hellgate. It
I know this could be Florida, but it's not, or Texas, but it's
not.
not.
It feels like it's
Um,
hot as hell.
it's I, mean, we talked about it just for a minute, but I'll let you guys go around and tell us what your first impressions were of this film. Uh, it stars William Hurt, of Oscar winner William Hurt, and Cary Elwes from the Saw franchise.
So that's how
Um,
you say his name. I never could figure it out. I'm like Elves. Elves.
yeah, I didn't know
I
that
could never
either
say his
until
name.
after I watched him in Glory, and then then they said it's Cary Elwes. I go, oh, okay, so that's how you've been saying it.
Aha.
Um,
Now I know. Yeah, it
Mary,
was. I like the location. That's for sure. In Thailand, that's interesting as hell, right there.
Hmm.
That's some
beautiful.
beautiful scenery. Makes you want to go.
But not to the Hellgate.
No,
I will avoid that if I can.
Cheetah will hold it open for us.
That's right. That's right. The cheetah will do it. Haas, what about you, buddy? What did you think? And was this your first IFC movie you've ever watched?
No, it's not the first one, but I had not heard of this one prior to you mentioning it.
Me
Uh,
either.
I'd heard of another movie titled Hellgate, which was made back in the '80s. That was actually filmed in South Africa, but this one, it was a little bit different than what I was expecting. But I think as far as the main performances, Cary Elwes and of course Mr. Hurt, they both did phenomenal jobs. I think.
Yeah, I really I think the acting in this movie for the most part was pretty spot on. I
Yeah, I like
enjoyed.
William Hurt too.
Yeah, he was definitely was the highlight for me. Um, just the fact that his I mean he played the part perfectly. He really played a part perfectly, and it'd been so easy for an actor of his stature to either ham it up or phone it in, and he didn't either. There's a lot of heart and energy into his role and into his performance that I really appreciated. But Ben, what did you think of Hellgate? Your first impression? You
I
thought,
thought it was kind of just so. There was things I liked about it, but there was also things that left me sort of flat. I think the pacing was a little slow for me, and um, I think the story was good, but I think the screenplay itself could have used. I just didn't feel like super invested in some of the characters. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think this is a. I do say this. I will say this. I think this is a movie that could have used a little bit more of a pop or a score.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
it was very laid back. I think it needed just a little bit of score to help ratchet up the tension. Uh, and I do think that that's a missed opportunity here to have done that. Because it laid everybody. It just to me, it's just like it needed to. It needed the movie needed a push. Like get it because it was
Yeah,
a
you're
good
heading to
movie.
Hell's Gate. You're
Right.
really
It needed to be
thinking
more
of the
like
Polynesian sounds.
I just thought that if they'd ratchet up the music up a
The
little
beautiful
bit,
music they had, and it's like, well, we're heading to Hell's Gate here.
Yeah, yeah. Why do we feel like I'm on a travel log more than I am
Beautiful blue waters, Thailand. It's like,
Yeah,
wow.
I think the editing could have been. I think if it was edited differently, it would have helped it quite a bit. Because there was some beautiful photography, there were some good performances, but then just overall, I wasn't super drawn in.
Well, the movie starts. We'll talk about the first of the movie, the story, uh, which opens up with Cary Elwes and his family are coming to Thailand to see his wife's family, and crazy traffic in Thailand, and
Which is he his boss too?
it didn't never really you know what yeah, maybe he did. It needed to establish that a little bit better. I wasn't sure if that was his father or his father-in-law or not. Now that I
Yeah, I
think
thought it
about
was his father-in-law and his boss. Like
Yeah.
that's how they like
I got the feeling that they were like business partners at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and he met her daughter or his daughter.
Mhm.
and,
Something.
Yeah. They get caught in heavy traffic. His wife tries to direct him onto a shortcut. Unfortunately, he gets caught in the intersection during changing of the light, and while they're stuck there, the little boy is taking pictures, and he's not really paying attention to the road as much as he should have, and he gets caught in the intersection, and then the car gets wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the car scene was pretty damn good. That was a nasty little piece of work there.
You T-boned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The photography on it was cool, like the inside shot with the sort of like glass tumbling around. But I also feel like I've seen that similar sort of thing done a bit better before. Like I feel like it wasn't super jarring. Like I've seen some things where it's like you don't expect anything and they're sort of like backing out of their driveway and then it's like almost like a jump scare. I feel like it didn't quite have that same punch.
Yeah, you did sort of feel like once you saw them out in the intersection the way they were, you definitely knew right there that they're probably gonna get hit. The only thing that surprised me was what they got hit by another. I thought they would get hit by a fat ass dump truck or something like that. But
I was just surprised how early on it happened. I thought we'd get to know a little bit more about them as a family before, but it just kind of just jumps right into things.
It probably would have been better if there was a little more build up for their family love, bond. Mm-hmm. I felt the connection between. I felt like they all genuinely cared about each other, but yeah, there wasn't quite enough setup for that.
Right.
No. Yeah.
Selfie.
Yeah, selfie. Yeah. Even back in 2011. That's that's what surprised me too. Going like 2011, were we doing selfies way back then? I
Oh,
guess
yeah,
we were.
Yeah, I don't know. Was he using a camcorder?
No, I think he was using his phone.
yeah.
Hmm.
No, he had like it was. I thought like a little digital camera,
It's
right?
like a digital, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So we see that um, the family's been hit, and Jeff, that's Cary Elwes' character, Jeff Matthews, and next thing you know, we see him going in and out of consciousness. He opens his eyes, he sees this nurse, then he closes his eyes, and then he wakes up again, and he's we see him in a private room, and it seems like he's been in a coma for about 6 weeks. And I think they were surprised. They were surprised that he came back because of the situation. Because the nurse that was Choi, that was taking care of him at his father-in-law's house, happened to be a hospice nurse. So they you got the impression that he was not supposed to come back. Uh,
Yeah.
but he did. He woke up, and yeah, he was he gets told that he's been unconscious for 6 weeks. Um, and so it was like, wow, I didn't, I was like, wow, okay, it's a long time to be sleeping. Um, and then his father-in-law does tell him about the loss of the family, and right away, something, actually he picked it up right away that something wasn't quite right because he had no reaction to the news.
Yeah.
And that was a little jarring to see. You're like, you expected to see a little reaction, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So
And
okay,
then you're like, oh, maybe it's just shock.
maybe, yeah. It was interesting.
Since he just woke up from his coma, he can't really. Hey.
Well, I thought the father-in-law did a good job in that scene. I thought his acting was good uh, for the film, but I also wasn't really. I mean, yeah, maybe, but he just woke up out of a coma, like you said. Like it's hard to process shit, you know.
Yeah,
So
it is. Yeah.
I didn't feel
Really-
anything was particularly amiss at this point, personally, with his reaction.
Yeah, I didn't think anything of it because of it's kind of like a coma he was in, right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe
I think he had a breathing tube.
yeah,
That's
he had
why
a
his throat was so sore, and she was feeding mice.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
That was a very, very very compassionate nurse.
Yes.
I mean, right off the bat, we noticed that she's, but we don't know why. We don't know why at that time, but she is very compassionate and very dutiful, and so we don't know why quite as yet until because we don't find out till a little bit later that she was there basically to see him die, hospice nurse more than him coming back. So it's a little bit different. But I don't think that would have changed her attitude toward him at all. Her care level, but it was interesting that he wasn't expected to come back. Um, so so he does. Jeff wakes up, and he's still healing too. He hurt his leg really bad. He's got something happened to his neck. Like he kept the bandages on his neck throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little. I wish they would explain that a little bit more because I was like, "What happened to his neck? Why is he wearing the bandage to the whole movie?" I was like wondering about that. Was that like a conduit or I don't know, but it was just
I don't
it was
know.
sort of weird watching him the whole damn movie with the bandage on his neck. So Jeff does wake up. He starts rehabilitating. Joy is now starting to rehabilitate him.
Yeah,
Because
walking with a walker
right.
and stuff.
What did you guys? What did you think of the connection between Choi and Jeff?
Well, I mean,
You
at
could feel
first,
it with her. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah, she definitely cared for him, and he was still kind of just confused. I don't know if it was confusion or just again having to deal with everything, and he was a little bit cold to her in the beginning. I felt, but even as things progress, it just, you could see the relationship change over time. That was one thing I noticed. But
I felt like their relationship arc should have been better. I felt like they were connected and everything, but by the end of the film, like I was like, they didn't feel quite that connected. You know what I mean? So I feel there could have been a little more development or like bonding. Like maybe she had like had some family tragedy too. They could have bonded over or something. That
Yeah,
really
lost a family member in a car wreck, or
really
yeah.
drew them together and made that connection. But I didn't fully feel it to the extent that this story goes. Personally,
Yeah, it was like it was like very compassionate for sure. I mean, the relationship was very compassionate, and she cared for him greatly. Because lost his wife and his kid in one shot. I mean, you couldn't help but feel bad for him, and I thought she was
Take him to the graveyard and stuff.
yeah. And not only that, but she was, when all of a sudden at 12:43 every morning, all of a sudden now he starts seeing his first vision. We start seeing those for the first time, and it's signified by that eerie sound. It's almost like a spider sense, almost like I'm hearing this weird sound. Something weird's going to happen, and so he starts seeing the ghosts of the people that are. He starts seeing ghosts of people, including his first one was a neighbor across the way in the apartment, and he hangs himself, and he sees that, and that was it was different. I was waiting for him to actually go to the apartment. When he saw that, I'm going like, oh, he's gonna dash over there to see what really happened.
Right.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. I don't know. I felt like almost like they should have did that before the other spirits.
Like, oh, didn't you hear the neighbor hung himself? And then he would have found out from another neighbor.
Right.
Ah.
Like if that actually would have
get hung.
Yeah. Yeah, like it should have actually happened.
Maybe they had it. They just cut so much out of the movie for time.
Yeah.
It almost
the story up a little bit.
To me, the way it was edited, it almost seemed like he did a double take. Like he was like, "Am I sure I saw what I just saw, or what? Am I just imagining my mind playing tricks on me?" But it was like the first reaction of like, "Hey, I'm seeing this guy hang himself," but then it's like he kind of looks back. There's nothing there, so I don't know. I think there might have been more there, like you said. Maybe they just decided to cut things down or something. I don't know.
What do you think, Ben?
I thought the way we started out was pretty good with the sort of vision and his confusion and stuff. Ultimately, I feel like I think some of it throughout the film could have been done better, like the quick cut editing of the sort of like. I mean, it felt low budget, but it is low budget. But like, I feel like you could make something not feel low budget, even if it is low budget, I mean, so I felt like at first, though, the first vision of him and the neighbor hanging himself, I thought was, okay, that's okay. It's pretty good. Sort of just like silhouetted. You can't really,
It did have that J horse sense too. Something you expect to see like on the Ring or Ringu or something like that, or Pulse or whatnot. The one thing that really got me when I was rewatching the film was how open-minded he was to it. He was open to it. It was like and considering at the without because we can't do a Betty says felt low budget, looked low budget. Sometimes it happens that way.
I mean, sometimes you get a movie like Saw, which is severely low budget, and they're like, but they do a lot with what they have, and it doesn't feel low budget. It feels like they really stretch themselves out. Like there's a car chase scene in Saw where it's just like them sitting in a car, but it feels like they're in a car chase. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing about that scene that is a car chase, but I don't know. It's just good, smart filmmaking.
Yeah, I like the idea they had him open minded, like like he didn't do the usual trope where it's like I can't believe I saw that or that didn't really happen, like you always get that, like I didn't really see that. It must be in my mind. It's playing tricks in my mind. That's so tiresome. He was open to it right away. He was like, okay, like okay, I just saw something and I thought that was I thought that was really sort of different for a movie like this because most of the time it's always like I didn't see that or you're imagining things. I must have hit my head harder than I did. It must be the medication. There's all sorts of excuses. But I thought that Jeff was open minded to it, and I think that was I like that. I like that part of the screenplay. I
I
like that.
think like initially the first time I feel like he was like, what the fuck was that all about? He didn't really think too much of it, but the next time when he wakes up, he's open-minded to it, right? Like he 100% believes that there's some shit going on
Yeah,
in the other room. So
it was sort of refreshing though, for that because like I said, the trope is always like no, I can't. I'm not believing that. Something's weird. That must be the medication. It must be, my mind playing tricks on me or something. Some other, usual thing. So it was cool. And then Joy comes in, and she was actually the one that was skeptical. Like like there's a girl in the doorway, in the hallway
Mhm.
and she's like, look at him like, okay, this guy's a little crazy. I'll humor him by going over there, but and so she does. And she goes in there slow, but you don't really sense that she's just doing this for his benefit. Um, that's the impression I felt, and I think that was probably the right reaction for her to have. Being a little bit skeptical. Um, Despite later on we find out that she is anything but. Um, but yeah, what did you think of the early warning system that he had?
With a high pitch
Yeah,
that hurt. That hurt the ears. Had to turn the volume down on the TV for that one every time. Like,
yeah,
damn it.
yeah. I didn't get that. It was almost like I said. It was almost like he had a spider sense. It's like, am I watching a horror movie or am I watching Spider Man?
He's got tinnitus.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Almost like
head.
it's
That's from that thing in the head. He got hit in the back
yeah
of the head.
something with his injury maybe. Yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of jarring to hear that though. Each time, but
There's no
I guess
falling
that was kind
asleep.
of the cue for you as the audience. I guess.
um, so we see Jeff is he's starting to see these creatures manifest themselves at the same time every night. And he's starting to see the different, and it's not just the same ghosts. He's starting to see and not only are they ghosts, but they're also showing up in the way they died, a suicide and a murder that happened.
He even saw his family at the temple or graveyard in
Yes.
pain.
um so I mean, we start seeing that, and then it was a little. I thought it was a little different was the fact that they. I don't. I think the one thing they did a little bit wrong was they put the demons in place. I guess not looking back at it because every time he saw a creature, the divide was weakening. Whereas before he would only see ghosts, but with the divide weakening, that's when he started seeing the demons because they would switch off between being ghosts and then having demon faces on them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they were they being taken over? Were the ghosts being taken over by the demons? Not really sure, but it was but I love the effects. The makeup effects were on point.
I thought
Right.
like for the I liked the sort of that his reflection in the mirror was fading throughout the film. I thought that was pretty cool, just sort of like a little foreshadowing of his whole scenario there.
Right. Yeah, because we didn't know. We didn't realize. When you're watching this, you're thinking that he's getting better. He's up and around, he's mobile, what we never really got was, the fact was he was not, until he started noticing the mirror, like, wow, he's not looking too healthy here.
Yeah, he was starting to look worse and worse.
Worse and worse.
Back to the Future syndrome, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The dance under the sea.
Hi, Snow. How are you? I want to say hi to the chat real quick while everybody is here. Latoya, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Hi, Betty. Snow is here. And I saw Echo here earlier, and Anthony. Hello. Jaden, hello. Who did I miss? I missed anybody else? See, there's Ben in the chat. Hey, Ben. Okay. Oh, hey, hello, Sam Van. Hello, glad to meet you. Glad to meet you. When I met you, but glad that you're here for the IFC show. We only do this once a month, so.
It's our book club.
Yes, our book club. That's right. Yeah. So we see that that the story's progressing. And now he starts seeing creatures in the middle of the day. Before
You saw that guy fall from the building.
Yeah. Wow. When the first time I saw that, I jumped. I did. When I was sitting there watching it for the first time, and he's just sitting there, I'm just saying, okay. And next thing you know, then you see that guy coming down from the sky. I jumped. I was like, okay, you got me.
He hyperventilates too.
Yes.
On top of the high pitched noise.
I thought there's two things that I will say this, because Ben mentioned about low budget films and they're throwing all the money on the screen. I will say this for this movie, they threw a lot of that money with their budget. They threw it on the makeup, on the effect, because they were really good, real good.
I think like the makeup was okay, but really where the film, like one smart thing they did was like when they're floating on the river, we'll get to that, but they'd see like the flesh eaters, right? And they're just like silhouetted and creepy. So like when they didn't show the special effects, I felt it was more effective personally. Like I thought that was like one of the creepier visuals in the film, was just seeing them silhouetted.
I chompers on them.
Yeah, see, that's what made it jump for me, was that, they were just like small, dark, and those are actually sort of the ghosts, the demons I would expect to see in the movie Ghost, because that's what reminded me of when I first saw this. Before I saw first how they were standing and silhouetted, I thought of the demons in Ghost, but we know how that ended. But once they showed their makeup and how and their faces, I thought the makeup really added a lot to the movie. I thought the demons looked like demons. They looked like flesh eaters. I thought it was very very effective.
The demons and Ghost? Are we talking about like Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore?
Remember the silhouettes they used for the demons when they came and got the bad
little shadow people that grabbed the legs, grabbed the guy's legs.
Yeah, they're all silhouetted, and then they grabbed them, and then they went down there. It was like it was just god awful.
They're playing shadows, and then all of a sudden,
right.
I definitely felt a light and dark theme in this, because initially he was seeing most of this happen at night, and he was seeing more of the, like you said, where it would change from ghost to demon. But of course, when he saw that guy during the day, it was strictly just he looked human. There was no real demon part to that. And of course, the light and dark comes into play later, as we'll probably discuss. But I definitely felt they were pushing that theme some throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were pushing the divide too, weakening. Though we don't know that at the time. Like he saw ghosts at first, but now he's starting to see more and more demons, because they
see through. He see through, so he knows something's going on.
They're coming. They're able to come through, and we don't know why. We don't know why that's happening, but they're able to come through. And and of course, Choi is, she believes him right off the bat. Now she believes him. Before, the first time she was a little bit hesitant, but when he mentions it again and a couple more times, Then she's all in. She's like, okay, I believe this is happening. And and the scene at the elevator where he's coming in by himself at night, and he's coming in and he gets chased into the elevator, and
Yeah, it was a pretty neat scene.
yeah, yeah, that was a really good scene. Where he got grabbed on the arm, and it left it's sort of like the a Nightmare on Elm Street type thing, when they dreamed and they came back, they had the injuries on their arms.
Mm-hmm.
This is really what happened. It was sort of like that. He got burned. And he came out of the elevator, and he could see the handprint on his arm. It was just like, holy shit. I thought that's where they could have started to have a little bit more impact with the music. They needed to make the movie a little bit more intense.
A little spookier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was spooky, but they could have did a better job with that. Okay.
Well, then she said maybe we should go and meet my aunt or something.
Yes.
Like she's kind of familiar with this kind of stuff. Because that's what your aunts are familiar with, is how to get your spirit back.
That's right. Yeah, because everybody's aunt in Thailand. Everybody's aunt in Thailand and knows all about these spooky creatures.
But then later in the movie, she's just like, that's like my sister's cousin's second nephew by my stepfather. I'm like,
stepfather.
Yeah.
Like,
that made me laugh.
We have a very large family.
What is this exposition? What the fuck?
Yeah, that made me laugh. For sure. Yeah, I kept on thinking, well, like I know I've heard that said before, but in a different culture. So yeah, but that made me laugh. That made me laugh too. So yes, they so Troy mentions that, we're gonna go see my aunt. My aunt will know what to do, and so the aunt, she attempts to go in there and help Jeff. But she finds out that really quick that she's no match for what is ailing him.
It did something to her.
Yes, it possessed her. She
hurt her chest or something.
Yeah, he was sucking. She got possessed by some sort of spirit, and
but it was using him as the conduit, I guess. Is that
right?
What you'd say?
Yes, because she went in there to help him, and then since he was able to see the spirits and interact with them, maybe not vocally per se, but he did have interaction with them, and next thing you know, she gets possessed and gets knocked down flat on her back. She's just outmatched. And so, of course, they have to grab her up there, and they have to. Am I getting? Did they had two? They had the first encounter. They had the first encounter, then the second encounter. The second encounter was where he helped her. He helped. She thought that she helped him, and then it didn't work. Then she came back, and then she got possessed.
Yeah, she told him about the shadow world.
Right.
That usually if they die suddenly, that's where they end up in the shadow realm or world or whatever it is.
Right. So I thought they explained it fine. They explained it a whole hell of a lot better than I'm doing.
That was okay the way they did that part. Yeah, it's like okay.
What we're trying to get to the point now where I'm trying to remember. Did they have two encounters with the aunt before they met? Warren.
I thought they just
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think it was just the one, but it's like then when she realized she was kind of not strong enough to be able to deal with this, she said, "We need to go see someone else."
And so they picked her up and put her in the car, and then drove out to see her Warren, who's played by William Hurt. Warren Mills he's a spiritualist. I don't know how would you describe his character? I mean, it was sort of like
Is it like a guru or?
He was like a burnout dude who moved to Thailand and was like trying to fuck young Thailand chicks.
Yeah, I got that Pink Floyd vibe from him. You know, Sid, whatever that guy's name was, that got busted down there with the kids down in Thailand, and he's like, it was sort of that part was sort of creepy. Because they did look like you're looking at them and going like, man, I wonder how old these girls are in real life. You know, are these like 18-year-olds? Because it looks creepy as hell.
I mean, I didn't feel there was any fishy shenanigans going on. I felt they were of age. I didn't think he was like a weirdo like that.
He just had a couple little pretty girls.
He just had some, he's just like, hey.
He likes to surf and have fun with his lady friend, I guess.
I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, surfing's cool, and girls are cool too. What you gonna do, right?
I think he maintained. I think he definitely supported himself, but not at the level that he used to. I think he handles simple remedies or maybe some spiritual advice here and there, because I was thinking, how is he maintaining this lifestyle out here? And then he's a spiritualist, so he's probably just doing very, very light duty because of what happened to him in the past.
Funny mushrooms must be.
Because when he sees the aunt, he is not happy. He's not happy because he sees that like he's gonna have to do some heavy lifting. And it's going to be the first time in a long time that he's had to do that. When he picks her up there, and he knows immediately who she is and what's going on. I mean, you can definitely see that he's all business, and he goes inside there. He blocks off all the viewpoints, and then he exercises that spirit from her, and he does it effortlessly. He's a badass. Warren is a badass.
He was sort of like, I didn't get the feeling that he was to me, he felt like a sort of like hesitant dude who had experience with stuff, but wasn't like, hey, I'm a spiritualist. Or, like didn't seem like that was his whole thing. It seemed like he didn't want to be that at all.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He didn't. He was not. I mean, he helped that woman because it was the right thing to do. But you're right. He was not happy about it.
Well, that and I guess their history, because they obviously had a history together, and he was more or less wanting to do it out of like a feeling of, well, I think she mentions later, you owe me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like that, there might have been. That was why he was doing it, not necessarily because he wanted to.
Yeah. Right. Her acting was not super great. The aunt.
The aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have had to do with the language, per se. I mean, I got the same impression, Ben. I just felt like, really, it just that part suffered a little bit for it. I think she was earnest enough, her emotions were right. But the dialogue wasn't the best for her.
Yeah. The dialogue and line delivery wasn't super great. It would have been better if she did it in her native language and they just subtitled it. Like if everything with her, like, she didn't speak English at all, that would have been better, I think.
Yeah. You know what? I'll agree with you on that. I think that would have been fine. I think that would have been, because and not even subtitle, just have it have Troy, or actually Warren, because he knew the language, he could have translated it for us. So of course, it's sort of like and you can tell though that he's hesitant. I mean, he definitely has battle scars, is because while he jumped in there and helped her out and saved her life, he's not really in a hurry to save him. He sees Jeff, and he goes, it's almost like he just said, oh, I don't have enough time to save your ass. I mean, you've already been, and we find out that, he lost his soul. His soul is with his family. And that's what's been going on with him. That was a very unique story point in his accident, is that your soul got left behind. Your body got transported to the hospital, but your soul is still back there. That's the reason why now you're dying. because at the time, and then when you hear that, you're going like, oh, I didn't even know he really was. I thought he was supposed to be getting better, but
Right.
But he's starting to get more see-through and stuff.
And then you hear that, well, 7 times 7, you got 49 days basically to, to fix this, and then you realize that he was already unconscious for 42 days when he woke up. So he's only had the last week to, for this all to come together. And I'm sure to Jeff, it was just absolutely overwhelming. And to Warren, I think he's just looked at it as a lost cause. Like, there's no way I can, one, I don't want to go back there. And two, there's no way that he can be saved.
But the ant's making him.
Yes. I thought the ant's gesture, I think that the ant, I thought it was precious, actually, that the ant, she knew that she had him, had that one favor, you owe me, and she, instead of saving it for her or her immediate family, she saved a stranger. And I thought that was a really, I love that part of the plot. I love that part of the story.
Yeah.
To sacrifice, because they say there's no greater love than to sacrifice your life for another. What did you think about that, Haas? Were you a little bit surprised when you heard her come back there and tell Warren that, you owe me, and this is what I want for it. I want his life for the favor that you owe me.
I mean, yeah, it was just because really, she had no real, I guess, reason to want to help him specifically. Like, it wasn't like they had a long relationship, or she even knew if he was a good person, really. I guess when it come down to it, it was just she saw a need where, he need to get his soul back in his body, whatever, and yeah, I want to do this nice thing. It's not about me. It's bigger than me. And
yeah,
I think that seemed like that was the goal she had.
I mean, if you're gonna hold a favor like that, a life like that, you think that it would just be, you guard that so precious, like, okay, I'm going to say this for, like, again, like the little girl, you try to save the mother and the little girl. That's something you would try to use that favor for something like that again. But she just said, and I think part of it had to do with how Choi, because Joy, you can definitely see now that Joy has a lot of affection toward Jeff. Nothing unseen, nothing romantic, but she is now vested in his well-being. Not only as a nurse, but now his spiritual being as well. And because Warren basically says it's going to be you. If we do this, if we save this life, we have to have you, not the aunt, who has more experience in these things. But he picked Choi to go with them to save Jeff's life if they can.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Casey, how are you, sir? I love that. Hey, Knights. Yeah, thank you for coming out, Casey. So I like the Buddha. What did you think of William Hurt's character? What do you think about his Warren? Did you like him? Was he a likable guy? How did you think William Hurt was when you saw him pop up? I mean, were you a little surprised to see him in this movie? Be honest. Were you surprised to see a star of his caliber in this movie?
I was surprised to see this movie with this cast. Let's just say that. Like, I feel like Cary Elwes and William Hurt were like. I'm surprised they both signed on to do this film. Personally,
Yeah.
You kind of wonder if there might have been an incentive, like, hey, we'll set you up. You have all this time in Thailand, whatever, and it's like because it's obviously they're helping the movie, their star power, so there had to have been something they had to sweeten the deal a little bit, but I don't know. I mean.
I can't tell you how I mean, like I said, that's the reason I grabbed this movie. One of the reasons why I grabbed it. But I was just like, okay, Cary Elwes, he's done some slumming before. He's popped up in some movies that like really, but he's done a lot of those. But William Hurt, you don't really see somebody like that doing a movie like this, and it's like, man, that really intrigued me. And then when I saw his character and how he played him, you could definitely tell that he showed up with his lunchbox.
Mm-hmm.
I thought his Warren was he's definitely the most interesting character in the movie.
I feel like the casting almost led to some disappointment in the film for me, though. Like, I expected it to be better than it was, as far as the filmmaking goes, just based on the cast.
Yeah, it was a very strong cast. I mean, and as far as Elwes and Hurt goes, I don't know about the Thai actors. You don't know about them and how big of a star they were. Because they'll both, all the Ant and Choi could have been big stars in Thailand, but we don't know that.
Choi looks familiar, like I have seen her in something else. I don't know.
Yeah, she was really striking. She was
looks
really
familiar.
Yeah, I wanted to go back and look back and see if she's done anything else. Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Let's see.
Right. Thank you guys for all coming in. I appreciate it so much. So William Hurt and of course Jeff, Warren, and Choi. They're going to go out there and Warren explains to them what they're going to have to do, what they're going to have to face. They can go to the Hellgate. They're going to have to go in there. He's going to have to reunite his soul with his body and get the hell out in 7 minutes. And the risk is great because he already failed it once. He was supposed to save the mother, who went in there to save her daughter and was lost. And so, he didn't want to go through that again. It was only because the aunt said, you got to do it. That was her daughter. The aunt's daughter is the one who he lost.
I thought it was her sister. Oh, the aunt.
Her sister, aunt's sister.
Yeah.
But still,
but was it Warren and the aunt's kid?
Through her stepfather.
Yeah. Yeah, stepfather. Oh, yes. So they had a family connection, and so because he would have never done that, never again. So he has to explain to Choi what to expect, and so they take off on the boat and they go and they have a couple of monks with them. I sort of wish the monks would have had a little bit more to do. Like, they're there, but I wish they would have had more part of it.
Then the part I didn't get is all of a sudden they're back and they're looking at the crash site.
Yeah, the scene where they take him back to where the crash happened. Was that more or less just to try to prove to Jeff what they were doing, or was that for Mills to have confirmation of?
I don't understand, because then all of a sudden they're right back in time, right back to where they were near the temple or whatever, near the Hellgate.
I think
how they go back and forth so fast.
Maybe the time frame was specific for the person that was going through the gate. Like if for Jeff, he went back to where the point where his accident happened. If the aunt went back there, would have went back there like 10 years ago, where the little girl was there. I think it was just whatever time frame it was. That's where you went.
Because Choi was there too.
Yeah, I mean, they went back, but like at this point, he wasn't even fully like he didn't necessarily believe any of it. He just knew some weird shit was going on, and then William Hurt, rather than explain everything, was just like, let's just go to the crash site.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, hey, I'm confused. That's me over there.
Well, I mean, I think Jeff. I mean, obviously, at this point, Jeff is believing it, and then we actually do see that Jeff is fading really bad, because now he can barely walk. He's just beating, and and the demons are on the east side of them, and as long as they stay in the light, they're okay. But he's having a hard time walking, Warren's coming up from behind them and holding them up there and saying, "Focus, concentrate, just keep going. Don't think about anything else that's happening to you." And pushes them along, to get there, to get to the gate. Uh, and again, this is where I really enjoyed the special makeup effects. Those makeup effects. The two things I was impressed with in this movie was William Hurt and the makeup. That's really the two things I was really like, holy, like I would really push this movie on is that.
I like the scenery.
Yes, and the scenery is very good too.
Yeah.
Mountains and
I just love the makeup.
River was beautiful, blue water.
Oh, definitely. That whole Thailand was beautiful. So they push him to the gates. So this is the problem. This is the thing I was like confused was like, okay, you got two extra monks with you, so how come they couldn't support you? Like, because when they sent Warren in, when they sent Jeff into through the gate, and Choi's there as the conduit. Like you can't open your eyes. You can't be, you can't trust what you're going to be seeing. They're going to try to trick you. And we find out that's what happened to Warren. He was tricked. Mm-hmm. He was tricked and he broke his concentration and it caused the gate to collapse upon itself and he lost the mother and the daughter. Mm-hmm. This time he's like, you can't let this happen to you. And
Sergi took the shape of the little girl and wanted a hug.
Right.
Hug me.
Yeah. And he was he failed. And so he explains to her what she needs to do. I was waiting for the monks to come to either side of the person holding the statues. And I was expecting them to come up there and maybe have them holding each other arm up, to help out. Because all they were doing was just sitting in the back doing nothing. I was like,
they're carrying luggage and then was packed the boat.
Yeah, I didn't feel like they had any point.
More training than that.
Yeah, I just wish they had. I was just wishing they were played a little bit more. It would have been more exciting to me. But they send Jeff in there to reconnect with his soul, and he does that. And obviously, I could understand him wanting to stay. I could definitely understand that. He got there with his family. He sees them again. He's completed his mission. But what he forgot was the fact that if he doesn't get out, he needs to be out. He needs to get out himself in order for his family to find rest. So him staying there
or stay with him forever.
Right.
If he
wouldn't have gotten out, they would have been ghosts, just like everybody else that he'd been seen up to that point. They wouldn't have found peace.
Right.
And he didn't realize that. And then Warren sends Choi in there, to rescue him. And he takes it on himself. Now you got the impression, you got the impression that Warren was scared for the first time. He was scared. He's not in a place he wants to be in. He knows what he needs to do, but he's not really happy about it.
When they before she went in, they were trying to trick her and they spit in her face. And these worm things are getting there. That was like, yo. That was a good better scene. Effect there, man.
What did you think? What did you think of that scene, Haas? Was that a pretty effective scene where they're trying to trick her?
Yeah, it was definitely just like he was saying. He had warned her that they were going to test her to see, like, are you going to open your eyes when they spit, like this whole spit in your face, and then, the feeling of something crawling on you. That's enough for most people to want to get up, and start shaking yourself off. And it was definitely showing she was trying to stay true to what he told her to do. And, even when the demons take on the form of Jeff himself, trying to get her to move, that's something she has to stay strong. And that's her one moment where she about messed up,
Yes. If she would have opened her eyes, that would have been it. She would have been she would have been in trouble, and Jeff would have been lost. But he's still, they know that he has not come out, and time's almost running out. They only had 7 minutes, and I thought they did a nice job to elongate that 7 minutes. I'm glad they didn't keep it in real time. Like, okay, you got 7 minutes, so mark your watch. I loved how they stretched it out. Because that did add some suspense to it. When you see the
shadows
sun,
almost reaching.
yeah. See, they needed that's where they needed a really punchy score to come in there and add the emphasis to it. Like, will they make it or not? And they didn't really have that.
Did you actually ever really question if they were going to make it, though? I mean, did it not feel 100% like, oh, I know exactly where this movie is?
I actually thought that. I didn't think Warren was. I thought Warren was going to sacrifice himself.
I thought Jeff was just going to stay.
No, I thought Warren was going to sacrifice himself. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect him to send Choi in there. I was waiting for him to go, like, hold on, I'm going to go in there and get him, and then he would have went in there.
I'll get them, and I'll get my the other soul of whatever.
Right, like you would expected Jeff or Warren to come up there and grab Jeff by the seat of the pants, throw him out through the gate, and say go, and then have the gate collapse on him. That's the ending that I think everybody would have expected. So it was a little bit different when they didn't do that, and I thought, but Jeff did end up paying for it, though. Warren did end up paying for it. He holds the gate open long enough for Choi and Jeff to get out, but he didn't come out of it unscathed. So they did come out, and instantly you can see his whole body's a lot. Noticed right away that he wasn't limping, but when he got up, he wasn't limping anymore. So they laid him back to. They go back to the compound, and then we see that Jeff has gotten his soul back because he sees a picture of his family, and he breaks down. He starts crying. And Warren has we don't know what happened to Warren. He had his eyes covered.
Well, they show him with these blisters. Something's burning his eyes.
Right.
When his eyes are closed, they're burning his eyelids.
You didn't know if he was blind or not. I didn't feel the impression that he was blind. I did feel the impression that he did get hurt, but I didn't.
Right, he was going to heal.
Right.
I just got the impression his grasp on holding that gate open was slipping. I didn't think in reality, it's not real until you open your eyes or whatever. We do see the first time we see him, we see his palm. It's like a weird shot of his palm, and there's a weird busted up
burn.
Yeah, and you're just well, what the fuck was that about? Mm-hmm. And then they sort of set it up oh, it must have been the first time he was
holding that little juju in his hand.
Yeah, he's holding the jujus.
We see that he gets, they're all out. Jeff's feeling 100% better. He has the soul back. He has the emotions back. Warren's going to stay behind with the monks to be healed. And Jeff and Choi head on out. And I was really happy to see this. I was really happy to see a complete story. A lot of these movies always tend to you would have saw an extra demon or something out of the corner of your eye.
Like the Vigil.
Glad. Yes, we're gonna get a sequel out of. No, you're not. I was so glad to see they had a complete story. It was and a happy ending, for what it was, and a complete story. Does that bother you, Haas? You ever watch a good movie, and then at the end of the movie they force a sequel point on you? Does that bother you when you watch a horror film?
Well, I guess it's just you think more of the company behind it. They're wanting to maybe try to leave that door open for something, if it does well, more or less. Instead of thinking of it should we have this? Should we just say this is the end? That's it, and we're not, I think it's just kind of a divisive thing sometimes that gets used. Whether there is ever going to be a sequel or prequel or whatever, they just like to use that as kind of a what if situation, I guess.
It's just like a trope at this point, like, and I personally, when I see it, it feels like a weird cop out, and I'm like, just have the story end, dude. Like, it always feels like kind of out of place and like a weird exclamation on the film, like you see it like okay, Friday the 13th, like, oh, he's still there. You see little bubbles come up in the lake. Great, I mean, that's some, like, it wasn't a trope at that point. And some films you see it like, oh, but wait, there is still this little thing. It's okay sometimes, but it's become sort of a cheesy trope.
Yeah.
I think it's ballsier just to end the film and be like, that was it. Maybe we'll do a sequel, maybe we won't, but we don't need a final jump scare, like.
No, we didn't need that at all. And it's just one of those things they try to do, and it's like, man, it's over with. It's boring. No, everybody's expecting it. I wasn't expecting it here. I'll tell you the truth. I wasn't waiting for it. I was just glad that they ended it the way they did. I enjoyed
Flesh Eater didn't come popping up out of the bottom of the screen.
Right. Yeah, that would have ruined the movie for me. Honestly, I mean, even if you would have done something so stupid.
What if they're walking away and like Cary Elwes turns around like Michael Jackson is like, and he's got the contact. That would have been amazing. Actually, that would have been amazing.
No, I'm glad they didn't do that.
It's like freeze frame and the credits just roll, like slow on his eye.
Or the credits or the credits roll, and then about halfway through it, then they do that scene. Oh, by the way, there's Cary Elwes is possessed. I'm so glad they didn't do that, though. It made the movie, it's self-contained, and I do enjoy that. It's just like I said, I just hate that trope. But so what are your impressions after the movie was over? What were your impressions of the movie after you watched it? And we'll go with Mary first, then Haas and Ben.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I like William Hurt's part. Yeah, it's a good thing he stayed there with the gurus. Like, I don't know if his little girlfriends would take care of him like that. To help pet his eyes better.
Yeah, surfs up.
Yeah, surfs up, dude. He's like the Big Lebowski of Thailand.
Yeah, I guess that could be. He was. I guess he had a little bit more of a stomach, right? It could have been the Big Lebowski. Yeah. Haas, what did you? What were your immediate thoughts when you after the movie was ending?
Well, I mean, I thought it was a good story showing how, people can come together to fight against, I guess forces of evil. That's basically what this was about, and seeing a need of what needs to be done, his soul being away from his body, and just showing the way that these people that really didn't know each other at the beginning, and the way they all end up helping each other deal with their personal pains and griefs, this is what Warren was going through that we didn't know about at first. And you kind of feel like that by the end, like you said, there's closure pretty much for everybody involved. So I thought that was really the best part of it to me, though.
And Ben?
I liked it conceptually. I feel like the execution was lacking. And like, Haas was just saying, the strangers helping each other. Like, for me, it would have been a lot stronger if they had developed a bond that we all felt watching it, rather than just like, I didn't feel like they were properly invested to push the story forward. But I think that there was some areas where it was more successful than others, but honestly, by the time we get to like the third act, I was kind of not fully invested in it, just because it was sort of the pacing didn't draw me in. But like, that's how Kill List was for me the first time I saw it, and I love that movie.
Yeah. That's what I said. I have a feeling if you rewatch this in a month from now, I think you come back and look at it a little differently. I will say, again, it's like I really wish they would have added more of a punch to a score. I think it would have made the. I mean, the movie it's a good movie. I recommend it. I think
Vigil had scarier music.
Yes.
They should have had their music. That's pretty scary, and it was just dark shadows coming through. It's like, whoa.
any supernatural horror, you gotta have a score to match it. You really, really do. It's if you don't have a really effective score, like for me, my favorite score of any horror movie I've ever seen is It Follows. Man, that's a masterclass on how to use the score properly to scare the shit out of you. Out of your
I have not perused that yet. I haven't watched it yet.
That's a great movie.
Mm-hmm. So really, it's like a very synthy score, but it's good.
It's just it pops. You'll find yourself going like, holy, But that's a really good example of a really good score. What it can do to add a horror movie to make it pop. So that was my only really complaint I had for the whole movie was the score itself. Everything else I thought was absolutely solid, and I thought the story was interesting. The acting, all right. I know it's going to be a rather fast one, but that's where we're at with this one. Let's go around and talk about your ratings. We'll start with Ben and then Haas and Mary. What will you rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Ben?
Probably just straight up 5, like right in the middle. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. There were some things that I liked and some things I didn't. I don't know that I would strongly recommend it. I mean, there might be one person or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, you should watch this because we were talking about something. But like, I was a little disappointed with it.
I'll do better next time, Ben. I promise.
I mean, it's not your fault. You didn't make the film, and it's all a matter of opinion anyway. I mean, you guys all liked it pretty much.
Had good actors. Yeah. It's named Hellgate.
Had good actors, but bad acting. How does that work?
I don't know.
It's probably just what they're reading. They're reading what they were like. Here, read this. And I'm like, really? Okay. I like my paycheck.
You're right. I mean, you're right. I think I like your idea, Ben. I think the acting would have been a lot better if Choi and the aunt had been able to just. Well, Choi had good English, so I mean, the actress who played her, she was fine. But I do think that the aunt should have been speaking Thai. And I think it would have made her character and her performance a lot better because she didn't look comfortable speaking English. She's had good English, but you're right, the delivery wasn't the best.
I feel like I appreciate when filmmakers don't cop out and make like a cheesy movie, but because the level of risk is there. It's hard to make a good scary or like a movie that has scary themes in it. And I feel like they just barely missed the mark, but I appreciate the effort. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not, it would have been easier if they made it cheesier.
All right, Haas, what would you rate this movie? Your first movie of the IFC MidKnights. How would you rate this on a 1 to 10?
I'd probably give it a solid 6 on this, and a lot of it has to do with just again, the way I felt like it held together as far as a cohesive story. Yes, there was definitely some issues like you mentioned with the acting and all, but and I think the runtime was about right for this. I mean, if it had been longer, I don't know. I think it would have hurt it, and I want to say that it probably was initially longer, and they probably edited it down to kind of make it more, they may have taken out some things that could have been in there better, but I'd still say about a 6. And Cary Elwes.
That's about what I am too. A 6. I do like the actors, like you said, and I love the scenery. It's beautiful. But William Hurt, I don't know. I love William Hurt.
Yeah, me too. I would give this a 7. I mean, I give it
tough. 6, 7. It's hard.
Yeah, I gave it a 7. I mean, I thought it's a solid movie. It's better than 90% of the other company puts out, and you know.
I mean, it was 90% worse than any IFC film I've ever seen, right? I mean, IFC usually they make strong films, so this one, I guess I just expected more out of it, right?
Yeah, it's really really ironical we're talking about this, and this was written and directed by John Penny, and this is actually his last film that he has made. He had made a few films beforehand, but this is the last film that he is credited to make. Written, directed, and this is the last one. He's still with us. It's not like he passed away or anything, but this is just his last movie that he's done.
It wasn't William Hurt's last though, right?
No. William Hurt ended up doing all the Avengers movies. Yeah, played General.
See, that's how much I watched them.
Yeah, right. No, he did that. He did some other films as well. High profile films, but he won an Oscar for The Kiss of the Spider Woman, and he wasn't a complete, and both these actors, they both have some pedigree in horror. William Hurt did Alter States, and of course Cary Elwes.
Yeah, that one's crazy. I was watching that.
Really crazy.
Crazy.
And of course, Cary Elwes is, as we all know, he played in the Saw franchise. So they have some pretty good pedigree there as far as doing
Twister.
Horror. That's right.
The Princess
Twister.
Bride.
Huh? Yep. Twister. And like I said, William Hurt ended up doing the Marvel movies. So I mean, they're still doing big projects. This is just like a small film that they did, and I thought it was solid.
Like him and Michael.
Steven says he felt like this was a 5.5 or 6, at least for him. I mean, I do like Asian horror, even if it's strictly not that category. Could have been rushed. I really didn't get the idea it was rushed, but I definitely got the idea that it was a little incomplete as far as the score goes. But that's the only thing I say about it. All right, real quick, what do you guys got going on with your channels this week? Before we tell you what we're covering next month.
I'm hoping to have.
Just got a picture. There you go. Dun dun dun.
Go ahead, Mary. What do you got coming on your channel this week?
Just Captain Chaos. That's all.
Classic, man. Cannonball Run, right?
Yeah.
Haas, what do you got going on?
I'm hoping to have some reviews up. I've had a few films that I've been wanting to try to get the reviews out for, and then of course always got adding to the collection. Still waiting on an order to come in from a past Vinegar Syndrome sale. As you called me, what was it, a boutique baller or something?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You get the boutique ballers.
So yeah, that's about it.
So the thing is, though, is to say that, and then I look at IFC and it's in their boutique label too, and I realize that, I keep on teasing people for getting the Vinegar Syndrome and shit, but I got IFC films, and it's like, I guess I'm a boutique baller too. Ben, what do you got going on this week?
I'm definitely a boutique baller.
Hell yeah, you are.
I have so many things that I've gotten. I keep meaning to do. Like, I want to do just like a video just to sort of like acknowledge that Colt had passed away because she was a part of the channel, and I want to do a million different collection updates. I recorded like a horror karaoke for the loved ones. That's just sitting around because I'm like, I don't know if anyone actually wants to hear me sing that song. But yeah, I'm trying to get. I've been feeling not super social, and YouTube's always been sort of like a social place for me. So I've been trying to get myself to be more social again.
You know what? You just take your time, Ben. don't put any pressure on yourself at all. You come back whenever you come back. You know you got us here. You got my phone number. You ever need anything to rent or anything out like that, you call me. I'm here for you. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm still hoping for that one picture of the boys around the pizza, holding out for it. Um, and Godzilla -1's gonna be coming out, and yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts about that. Did you do a trailer reaction for that yet?
I did do a trailer reaction, but I like the design of Godzilla. It's like throwback Heisei style, sort of in the face, more cat-like Godzilla. I thought it was cool.
Right, that's right. If Godzilla was a cat, he probably would be a cheetah. All right. So anyway, do you think that he'll fight in this new movie? I mean, do you think he'll fight some other monsters?
I don't think so, but I like it best when he's sort of like the anti-hero who helps humans against like time traveling fucking space aliens and shit.
Like Zootopia.
Yeah, I like it when he's just on, when he's like the monster of the people. But Shin Godzilla is amazing, and Godzilla 54 and 84 all super good. So like, I'm not mad when it's just him destroying shit, but I like it better when he's like defending you.
As long as if he destroys shit, they show the Japanese army out there trying to stop him. I'll always love that. It's always one of my favorite parts about the Godzilla movies. Here comes all the military just to get wiped out again. And Casey's a big Mazer fan.
Yeah, who doesn't love Mazers, dude?
I hope he gets to fight another monster. That's what I'm hoping for. All right, so next month we do have something to offer. We'll talk a little bit, but we still like to fit in Ben's pick on the show. We are supposed to be covering the autopsy of Jane Doe, and I'd like to offer, if you feel like it, Ben, we could come back on the 20th of August and cover autopsy of Jane Doe, and then on the 27th is Mary's pick, and she picked Radio Flash for us.
Radio Flash.
Yes, this will be the movie that we're.
It's on Tubi right now too.
Bros.
So I like to try to pick ones that can be streamed free.
I don't know. Let me see if I'm still up.
It's got.
I'm frozen.
If you remember, the girl that's in it is from The Walking Dead, where Carol's like, "Look at the pretty flowers,"
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah, that's the girl in it, the teenage girl that's in it, and one fella from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, this is a great cast.
And William Patton or something.
Yeah, Will Patton's in it.
Okay.
Dominic Monaghan from
Lord of the Rings.
Have you seen the movie Pet, by the way, with him?
Pet.
No.
I saw the cover for it. Looks pretty neat.
That's a cool movie.
Looks like a bear trap kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I recommend checking it out.
I have not seen it, but I did see the cover for it.
Would you guys be okay with coming back on the 20th and doing the autopsy of Jane Doe, and then the 27th doing Radio Flash?
And then this one's Radio Flash.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
And then the other thing that me and Mary were talking about too, and see how you guys feel. We're thinking about moving the time to 8 o'clock. But
if this is too early for you, or if it's
Yeah, that'll be fine for me.
Yeah, like I said, pretty easy going. I feel like the time always surprises me every week.
Okay.
I have to hurry up and eat dinner before it comes on.
Right. So on the 20th, that'll be our first 8 o'clock show then.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
The 20th, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So we'll be back here on the 20th with the autopsy of Jane Doe. That will be on the Cadaver Club's channel. We'll be heading on over to Ben's channel for that. He'll be hosting it. Maybe special co-hosts might be popping in on that show. Don't know. Up to Ben. And then on the 27th, we'll be back here on my channel as for Mary Wilson, as she will be hosting Radio Flash. And then in September, we don't know what Haas is going to pick, but we do know that it's going to
mystery.
Yes, I love the mystery. What will Haas pick? I don't know.
He's got lots of time to choose because there's lots to choose from.
Oh yeah,
there's over 1,000 IFC movies for you to pick from there.
Are there? But not 1,000 IFC Midnight movies.
No, not 1,000.
Yeah, you gotta pick a midnight one, I guess.
Well, no,
was the one Harvest movie was that one a midnight or no?
I think that was an IFC, and so was Cold in July. That was an IFC as well. But as we all know, you don't have to be an IFC midnight to kick ass. Because they have adventure movies. They still even have some horror movies that are out that don't necessarily always get the IFC Midnight banner. So, and of course, the big news before we let you guys all go is the fact that IFC is now going to be distributed by Vinegar Syndrome, starting in December. So, I don't know how that's going to work out. Does that mean the end of IFC films in brick and mortar stores? That would be a terrible thing. But come December, IFC will be found on Vinegar Syndrome.
I feel like a lot of the IFC Midnight movies don't have like deluxe releases, so it'll be cool to get better treatment for a lot of their releases, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if they can jack up the releases, you know, as far as making them with more special features and whatnot, I'm okay with that, as long as they're not charging like $40 like Vinegar Syndrome was doing that for Roadhouse. As long as they don't do that sort of shit, then I'm down with it. You know, if they keep the price point, you know, between $15 to $20, you know, affordable.
That seems unlikely if it's going to be Vinegar Syndrome.
Right.
Most partner releases will start out at anywhere from $28 or maybe $25, somewhere around there, I think.
We're gonna go broke.
Vinegar Syndrome's always like the retail prices are like $60, and then like every, you know, the actual going rate on the website until they sell out or whatever is like $28, you know.
Yeah, where they should be.
Yeah.
So hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully IFC will sit there and tell them, you know, keep selling it. You know, here's our price point. Keep going through the stores, you know, so people can buy them. I hope that's the case. But that's it for us. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate you for your support. We had a really good show tonight. We were pretty much between 7 and 8 all the way through. I really do appreciate that. We will be back on Ben's Club, Cadaver's Club's channel, Ben's channel on the 20th. So mark it down. I will be making I'll be making a Facebook link for that, Ben, for you. And then it will be at Cadaver Club, 8 o'clock Eastern time on the 20th for the autopsy of Jane Doe. And that, boys,
it's a good one.
That is an excellent movie.
Really good.
Well done to Ben. I was sitting there watching that movie going like, Ben is my hero.
I didn't actually have anything to do with the making of it, though.
Yes, you had everything to do with picking, but you picked it.
It's a good one. Yeah,
it's a great one. It's a great one. Far better than I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to run. I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to run.
I'm going to disagree before you even say it because I know where you're going. I like Autopsy of Jane Doe.
It's
a lot. It's a great film, but it's not the greatest film.
Of
the last.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've actually seen better IFC films per se, but that's top notch.
No, I really like this one. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, no, Werewolves Within.
Yeah,
like one of my two favorites so far. The IFC Midnight.
I admit that Werewolves Within was so much fun. All right, boys and girls, that's it for us. We will see you soon. Thanks for coming. Everybody hang around just for a quick second, and to the chat, thank you for hanging out. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Bye.
Still waving. End the goddamn stream, dude. I can't hold this royal wave forever.